You won't believe this. Just when everyone was about to lose it, a mysterious force surged from the depths of the ocean, shocking even the seagulls. Don't blink. In the very next instant, the entire fishing boat split abruptly in half, just like a watermelon being chopped open by a sharp axe. Hud shouted, "Run!" But it was too late. The boat flipped, crew flew like beanbags. Meanwhile, the split ship sank swiftly, dragging the crew down with it. A little while later, the ocean was calm again, as if nothing happened. Just then, Hud popped up from the water like a cork. Realizing he was here afterward, reporters swarmed Hud, firing questions at him, but he had no clue why the ocean threw a tantrum. The reporters tried to explain with hints, but Hud was convinced there was something mysterious, that things were more complicated than he thought. On the way home, he felt a sudden sense of reflection. He remembered his car being blue, but his wife insisted it was brown. Hud thought, did my memory take a swim with the fishes? When he opened the door, Hud was shocked to see a little 5-year-old. His mind was racing with questions, but he pushed them down for the sake of his wife. Meanwhile, strange things were happening at the dock too, as a cargo ship that had gone missing for years suddenly resurfaced like a bad penny. This was the same ship that had disappeared, and the military found some unidentified corpses in the cabin. Upon investigation, they found out the deceased were actually from 400 years ago, and the injured party calmed down instantly. This was the sixth occurrence. The injured decided to act and called in 4 experts. The first expert was a famous journalist, whose career revolved around events with a supernatural twist. The second expert, a meteorologist, was renowned for his spooky teaching methods, rumored to have once jumped into a swelling storm to give his students a hands-on lesson. The third was a marine engineer, experienced and keenly observant. While on patrol, he spotted safety issues on the drilling platform. He quickly reported to his superior, but the captain thought he was exaggerating. In a move to avoid production delays, he fired him on the spot. And then there's the white-haired elder, the last psychic with extraordinary perception. He was helping a woman find her lost child. With just a touch of the kid's clothing, he could pinpoint where the child was. Just as they were talking, the child magically returned on their own. Even though the elder's description was spot on, it ended up drawing laughter from the crowd. The elder brushed off the doubt, patiently waiting. Soon after, the wealthy merchant appeared effortlessly at the dock. He took them straight to the reclaimed cargo ship, and the merchant started talking non-stop as soon as they boarded. He was convinced that the Bermuda Triangle had time-traveling abilities and pulled out Columbus' sailing journal. The journal stated that Columbus saw his own lost ship. The 4 were all ears, intrigued. However, deep down, they all thought the merchant's claims had no basis in science whatsoever. It wasn't until the merchant led them to another cabin that they realized the severity of the situation. No bodies were found here, but the bloodstains on the equipment proved a violent incident had occurred. Just then, something the psychic casually mentioned sent chills down everyone's spine. The merchant pulled out a report confirming the decay of the corpses on deck was from 400 years ago. That's when everyone realized just how dangerous this was. Some regretted, but the merchant knew fortune favors the bold and promised $20 million. On hearing the reward, everyone forgot their aches and seized the task. Next day, they rushed to the airport to uncover the Bermuda Triangle's truth. On their way to Bermuda, something strange happened. A thick white fog suddenly appeared in front of the plane. The captain had no clue what was happening when the plane jolted wildly. A little girl in the cabin seemed to sense danger and bolted to the bathroom. When the captain looked up, he was stunned to see WW-2 bombers heading straight for them. The captain swiftly delved lightning fast. Passengers tumbled in the cabin like a less amusing roller coaster. Although the pilot cleverly dodged a collision, the crisis was far from over. The next second, all engines suddenly cut out and the plane plummeted straight into the ocean. Meanwhile, an old man on the ground sensed disaster and gathered his team to rush to see where it all happened. To sneak past the military's strict checks, the professor had prepared forced passes. Soon, everyone boarded the rescue boat smoothly, while a submersible already located the sunken plane. But what they saw next was beyond belief. The chase seemed fresh, yet the plane was covered in rust, as if it had been sleeping on the ocean floor for decades. Unbelievably, they also found wreckage of WW-2 bombers, with the pilots appearing lifelike. This sight turned their perceptions upside down, showing how aircraft from 2 eras differed. Just then, the psychic found survivors. Although the vision was quick, he was certain he saw a little girl at the tail of the plane. The rescue team thought he was dreaming, but those who had witnessed the elder's abilities in person felt the distinct chill. They quickly donned diving gear and swam toward the wreck, when suddenly an eerie phenomenon emerged before them. Countless sharks seemed frozen in place, as if held back by an unseen force from the wreck. Everyone was baffled, and the engineer could only gather water samples. They continued to search for survivors in the wreck, but found no one in the cabin. Strangely, the seatbelts were still buckled tight. It was as if the passengers had vanished into thin air. With all these strange occurrences, the duo began to doubt the existence of any survivors, but they pressed onto them. At the moment the door opened, the survivor's face popped into view. Amazingly, there was still someone alive after all those hours. However, what baffled everyone was that the little girl mentioned by the psychic had turned into an old woman, and she had no idea how she got there. As the psychic wanted to ask more, the imposters arrived. To avoid exposure, everyone left in a hurry. This was just the start. To uncover the secrets behind the events, the four rented a decommissioned submarine, ready to dive in.